Some of you are going to be surprised when I tell you that a whole lot of your missed putts are not misses at all, but they're bad green reads. You see, I believe that the average person can walk onto a golf course and take a putter without any training or practice, and at least some of the time roll the ball where they're aiming. I believe with a little bit of training and practice, you can roll the ball over the point you're aiming at the majority of the time. And I absolutely believe that I can teach anyone to roll the ball over their chosen target at the right speed almost every single time. The problem is, if you've chosen the wrong target, the putt's not going to go in even with a perfect stroke. And choosing the right target is green reading. In this video, I'm going to give you 2 tricks that will rapidly improve your green reading skills, and then a couple of methods that I use to read greens. Let's go. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the most important thing with regards to improving your green reading skills, and here it is. Have a strategy for reading the greens. I see so many people, they walk out on the green and they look at this putt and they go, yeah, looks like it's going to go that way a little bit, or well, you know, I don't know. And then they come over here, oh yeah, it's definitely going to go that way a little bit. And then they go down to where they have their ball marked and they set it down, and you know, sometimes folks try to plumb bob like they know what they're doing. They don't even know what they're looking at when they're plumb bobbing. And we're just taking a stab at it. That does not work. And you may think you're playing faster by doing that, and some of you are, but you're just missing more. Fewer putts is a way to play faster as well. So what I'm going to give you in this video, that's the most important thing, is have a strategy for reading greens. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, have more than one ways or methods that you use to read greens. Because one method doesn't always work. Sometimes things are different or whatever. Like plumb bobbing is a great method. We'll do a video on that in the next couple of weeks. Plumb bobbing is awesome and it works, but if you got a really long putt or a double breaking putt, it's not so effective. Similar things with aim point and with other methods. So you need to know and have a couple of different options and ways to use to read the greens. That said, now let's get into a couple of things that I do to read greens. All right, a couple of methods that I use to read greens. One of them, I'll call it the old school method. It's the way that people used to read greens years ago. Still very effective. And you start, when you get out of the cart and you start walking to the green, you're thinking about the overall terrain. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm on the west side of town. Las Vegas is a gigantic bowl. That's why you see in the news about flooding in Las Vegas. We can have a bright sunny day here. It rains an inch out in the mountains. 12 hours from now, the link down by the strip is flooded because it's the lowest point in this giant bowl. Well, I keep that in mind because just like rainwater, golf balls drain to the low point. So first, look at the overall geography for the area. Second, now look at the green. On this practice green, that's the high end. This is the low end down this way. So again, I think generally speaking, putts are going to break this way. Now you start looking at the line for the individual putt. So I look at this one and thought process here. Don't stand 2 or 3 feet from the putt. Back up 10 feet or so. Get a good look at the overall line. Get low if you need to. You don't have to lay down on your stomach, but out of that, I've got a pretty good idea what this putt's going to do. Now come to the side. Out to the side, I'm looking at distance, and I'm going to come all the way around, and you can do this while other people are putting, so you're not wasting time. I'm going to come around all the way to the far side of the hole and look at it, and yep, I see pretty much the same thing here So I've got a feel, and on my way back, I'm going to look right around the hole. Do I see any big breaks right in this area? I don't. So now with all of that information, and this is just the old school way of reading greens, I'm going to pick an intermediate point, and this putt has quite a bit of break. I believe if I roll the ball over this old hole right here, you want to zoom in on that? If I roll the ball right over the edge of this old hole, it's going to go up this line and break into the cup. Let's see how I did on that. So now I set up, I've committed to that target point. So I'm focused on that target spot. All I'm thinking about is rolling the ball over that target at the right speed. Okay, I missed. That's 14 or 15 feet. I overread it a little bit, gave it too much break, which is better than not giving it enough. And it's in the kill zone where you're not going to miss the putt. That's a decent read. If I'd read it perfectly, the ball would have gone in. That's one method, just the observation, pick a line, commit to that, and hit the ball. Now let me show you a second method of reading the greens, and that is finding the straight putt. This one's going to blow your mind how helpful it is. So here's what you do to find the straight putt. You imagine, here's the hole, here's my ball. This ball's in the shade a little bit, but that's where I had to put it. I think this is the straight putt. When you practice this, I'm going to give you a cheat to practice this so you can teach yourself to find the straight putt. And here it is. I'm going to move in a little closer. Here it is. I've taken a plate. I've used a paper plate, a nice one, because I didn't want to get in trouble for taking plates out of the kitchen at my house. That might not be a good idea. And I put like a clock, 12, 1, 2, 3, but 6 and 12, those are the straight putts. So what you do is you go out on the golf course and you find a putt that breaks, and you know that it breaks, and you try to walk around and find where's the straight point. So for this putt, I believe that right here is straight. Now I'm going to put the plate down here and check it out. I drop the ball in the middle of the plate and the ball rolls around and it comes to rest dead on top of the 6. That means from here the putt is straight up the hill. I know that. If I were on the other end opposite, it would roll to the 12 if I set the plate the same way. The purpose of the plate is just to practice. If I set this down where I think it's straight, I know where the straight putt is. So now I know from here it's straight up the hill. But now let's think about that. My golf ball came to rest there. Okay? Well, from my straight putt, that's about, instead of 6 o'clock, that's about 5 o'clock. If my ball were here, it would be about 4 o'clock or so. If I were up here, my ball would be 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 would be straight downhill, 11 would be a little bit downhill, breaking back that way. I'm right of the hole. That means the putt is going to break from left to right. 10 o'clock would be about here. It's going to break more from left to right and down the hill. 9 o'clock would be here. It's going to break the most. I've got to aim from here like 2 or 3 holes outside because it's going to break back to the right. And same with 8, would break a little bit more. 7 would break a little bit just outside the edge of the hole. Back to 6 is a straight up the hill putt. So here's what you do with this information. You take your plate like this, you go out on the golf course, and you find the straight up or down the hill putt. You train yourself to do that. Now, my ball is there, but I know because I've trained myself that this green ball is straight up or down the hill. So I'm looking. All right, this is a straight putt, straight up the hill. And I know that that's straight because I've trained myself. I get the plate right every time. And yeah, you do this, people are going to look at you weird on the practice green. Who gives a hoot? Put one of these in your golf bag and take it out to warm up every time before you play. So I know this is straight from here, but my ball's over there. So my ball's at 5 o'clock. Let me feel with my feet. And sure enough, yeah, I'm walking uphill a little bit, which means it's going to go that way, and the putt's uphill. So if here at 6 o'clock, I'm aiming straight at the stick, well then there at 5 o'clock, I probably want to aim maybe at this edge, somewhere in here. Let's see how accurate that is. I'm going to put a coin there and then go back and aim at it and see if we can make that putt. Let's see how I do. Just for fun, what if I had one that was over here about 9 o'clock? Now remember, this is the straight putt. So 8, 9. Well, I know that one is straight up the hill. This one is going to go sideways a little bit, down the hill a lot. So if I'm at 9 o'clock, I probably got to start it out in here somewhere. And that's a long way outside the hole. And I may be overreading on this one, but we'll get an idea. See if we can move the camera right around there so you can really see where I start it and how much it breaks. My putt is at about 8 o'clock, which means it's going to break that way. And this is kind of a target line, but I'm going to go just the inside of this. I'll call this finger. I want to hit the ball to here with enough speed to get it to the hole. So I picked a target that I pointed out to you a second ago. This is 85, 90 feet. You don't expect to make very many like these, but you have to have a good green read and a good putt so that you're making, of course, now the wind is blowing, which is moving. Since I was using a shadow of a palm frond as a target, it's moving that a little bit. But again, from this distance, you want to get close and maybe we'll get lucky. Focus on that target. And I started it on my line and the ball breaks. I'll take that from this distance. So use the overall old school method where you're looking at the overall geography, the specific hole, picking a target after you've looked around it from all angles and the side, commit to that target, or find the straight putt using the clock method with a plate, and from the straight putt decide, are you at 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock? And then adjust your break from there. But again, picking a target, committing to that target, rolling to it. You'll find if you use a specific method like this, you'll read greens better, you'll make more putts. And by the way, if you like making more putts and tips like this, that's a great reason to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And until next time, here's to you making more putts.